Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the LFC Transfer Room YouTube channel. First and foremost, obviously, get liking, get subscribing with notifications on. And some breaking news has just came in that Fabinho has completed a transfer to Al Ittihad. But before that, we've got three lovely guests here. So, Arnold, first and foremost, how are you doing?
I'm all right, not too bad. And taking it easy, trying to recover from losing Henderson and Fabinho in the space of a few days, but I'm coping. I'm coping. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. I don't share the same sentiment towards one of those players, but Dan, how are you doing, man?
I'm doing fine. I mean, it is kind of sad to see both Fabinho and Henderson both go. It's the end of an era at Liverpool. You know, the first Henderson being like one of the first players that was bought underneath the FSG regime. Fabinho being such an important role, and both those guys just being so important to our locker room, to our culture. It is sad. It's kind of one of those days. It's a sad day, but it's also like a hope for new beginnings. Like, and especially with the likes of our players Szoboszlai and Maka that just came in this summer. Sad, but excited. I'm very excited to see what this year is going to bring for us.
Nice. And Harmony is just dropping out the stream. He's back
Yeah,
in now.
so
How are you doing?
I heard about Fabinho, so I wanted to cry a little bit before I come on stream. So yeah, I'm alright. I'm good. I'm good. Let's see how this goes.
Exactly. We're going to start off anyway with the breaking news. Get your comments in as well. Everyone saying big up, big up. Don't worry, Arnav. They're both in a better place. They're not in a better place. Yeah, everyone big up, big up. But first and foremost, breaking news for Fabinho. Arnav, we're going to start off with you. What's your thoughts on the transfer? Are you happy that he's gone? Obviously, he was sort of losing his legs, I'd say, for the past couple of seasons now. But he's such a huge figure since we've signed him. So what's your thoughts on that transfer?
Yeah, first and foremost, what a career he's had at Anfield, and he's been a brilliant player, pinnacle and archetype, catalyst to our success. And yeah, last season there was a lot of calls that he was losing his legs, and to be fair, I agree with it. But I also think he was getting played so much for the last 2-3 years, and like it's good now. He's got a paycheck now at Al Ittihad, joining Karim Benzema and N'Golo Kante. Just two of the names, and yeah, I mean it's a shame, but I feel like if we can get this Lavia deal through, we should be able to replace him, and we just got to replace the old guard now, and he's just part of that process.
Come unmute my mic. And definitely, man, Dan, what's your thoughts on Fabinho as well? Such a huge sort of transfer, and one of the best transfers I think you can argue under Jurgen Klopp. So, what's your take on it?
Oh yeah, I mean, like, Fabinho is pretty much the player that came in and turned us from a 75, 77 point team that was really like hit and miss, very dynamic, very vertical team, to one that was very stable, very defensively rock solid, and essentially is one of the big reasons we won the European Cup in 1819. I mean, that Barcelona comeback, one of the best comebacks in Liverpool history, going all the way back to Etihad in the 70s. He was such a big part, and he was arguably the best defensive mid in the world for about 3 years. One of those years he was here, he had to play center back, so I think that's the year that we really missed out on getting like all 4 good years of just a top class defensive mid. That mantle is now taken up by Rodri. It's sad to see it happen. I think after last year, everyone looked at Fabinho, Klopp, and they're just like, Fab's like, I just don't have the legs for this anymore, and he's just moving on to like get his paycheck, play in a much different league, play for, I mean, he's pretty much playing on a team that, 2 years ago would have been one of the best teams in the world with like, Benzema, Firmino, Mahrez, St. Maximin, Benjamin Mendy, that team over at Al Ittihad. So, if this is how he wants to go out, fair play to Fabs. He's done his job. He's been amazing. It's a sad day, but, on to new things, on to new and better things, always upping the Reds.
Therefore, hopefully onto better things. We're seeing Romeo Lavia, which we're going to touch on later on in the stream, of course. Harmony, last time I was on with you, I think Henderson and Fabinho, the news just broke, they could leave the club. And you're quite sad on losing them both. And now they've both ended up going. So what's your take on Fabinho leaving? You're on mute, by the way.
Yeah, so that kind of like what Dan just said, to reiterate what he just said. That Barcelona game kind of just defined what kind of player that we had in our hand. Honestly, the card in the first half, and just maintaining the control that he had that whole game, you know, to protect the back line and just to keep Messi in check, to keep Suarez in check, to keep Coutinho in check, like all of these players. And it was just crazy. We were hoping, but please, Fab, don't get a second yellow. Please don't get a second yellow. We have no one else there. And he just pulled it out for us. And yeah, and that goal against Man City, that was brilliant. That was brilliant. Yes, it was about time for him to score. And he was literally saying that, you know, in this celebration. And yeah, so I'm going to miss him. I wish we kept him for at least one more season, which would have made it easier for us to get a Lavia and we wouldn't have to worry about him starting. But, you know, it is what it is. We get the money and let's see how the rebuild goes.
Definitely. And obviously we all love Fabinho, but it's time to move on now. And Romeo Lavia's name has come up. Oh no, we're going to touch on it with you first. Is he too inexperienced, do you think, to start for us at the moment? Obviously, you said off stream is a good player, but is he good enough to start for a team that can be competing for Premier League and I'd say compete for Champions League, but when you're open now? So do you think he's at that level at the moment?
I feel like with any young player, we have to give them time, like to settle in, like new city and new surroundings. But I feel like Lavia, he's shown so much, even at Southampton in such a poor team. Ironically, they went down, but he showed a lot of glimpses of what he's about and like collect it. He's not afraid to collect the ball from the keeper, and I feel like that's what Klopp wants from a six, to come in, get the ball, play it from the back. And I feel like Lavia does that really well. But obviously, it will take him some time to get used to the squad. But I feel like he'll just add and bolster our midfield to another level. Like with we got Badge coming back, Curtis Jones, Harvey Elliott, and not to mention Dominic and Alexis. So I feel like if Lavia does come in, he'll be a very important part of the squad. But I feel like next season is just about pushing as far up the table as we can, and also just having him free for Europa League games. I feel like that will be quite an important factor, as a lot more lads will get more starts and playing time, which will be perfect going forward. But I'm a big fan of Lavia. I've said it for a while, even when he was playing at Southampton, and when they did get him and Bella Kotchap, another player that I thought was decent last season. But obviously, not all of them are going to get the praise because they got relegated. So, yeah.
Yeah, and Dan, following his performance against Liverpool, I think, was it 4-4 we drew against him, and he assisted Diogo Jota for one of the goals. Has he tempted you? Do you want him at Liverpool?
Yeah, I mean, I've wanted him at Liverpool since the end of the season, since we've been linked to him, because he just looks he has everything you really want. He's good on the ball. He can be on the half turn. You know, if you watch him all the way back from even when he played at City, you know, you can watch as a young player playing at City that he was one of the better players in the team. And actually, when Southampton went and played City at the Etihad, he was one of the best players on the pitch and just running a game from a really, really poor Southampton team as well. Yeah, no, I really rate Lavia. I think he is, you know, if you're going to go out and rebuild the Liverpool team, and you know, you don't want to spend $120 million on like a Florentino Luis, or, you know, like last year with Tchouaméni. You know, if you're going to go young, you know, you're going to have to go 40-30 million for someone like a Lavia. You know, other players we're linked with, Manu Kone and Kefren Turam. You know, it's very much one of those things where Lavia is good enough to come into this Liverpool team and feel right at home. Like, but the problem is the fact that he is so young, and I was looking at his total amount of games. He has 38 games, so he hasn't even hit like what is usually our floor for players, which is like 100 to 150 that we see, and then that's when we're like, all right, we're going to go in for this player. I think if we get him, which is looking very likely that we will, he'll come in, he'll probably get, probably 30 games total in the league, I would imagine. I think he'll be incredible. He'll be amazing. He'll be a bit more dynamic than what Fabinho was. You know, not knocking Fabinho in many ways. I think Fabinho was great as a job, but he'll be able to take it on the half turn, pass it, and also win the ball back as well, which is what we really want from one of our defensive mids that you should play in that deep line position.
Definitely. And Harmony, before the transfer window kicked off, do you think Romeo Lavia would have been at the top of your list as well? And I just want to add a little point as well to his age. I've probably been a bit guilty of it as well. We were all like on this Jude Bellingham train, 100% spend 150 million on him. And he's the exact same age as Lavia. Obviously, you got the experience element to add to Jude Bellingham. But Harmony, would you have taken Lavia beginning of the transfer window? Do you think he's going to be good enough for us?
I would have taken that as second option. So I would have got someone a little bit more experience. So like you brought up the whole Jude situation. We wanted him because yes, he was young, but he has the experience and he's proven it throughout about the last 3-4 seasons in Dortmund, playing in the Champions League, performing well. You know, literally dragging that team up, and that midfield was not great, and he was literally the standout guy in that midfield. So that is probably the only reason why a lot of people are so hesitant on Liverpool getting him. It's just that lack of experience, because he has the abilities. Yes, there's 1 or 2 things that he can work on, but that is things that he can learn as he grows in that role. So that wouldn't be a problem. I think it's just the experience and the knowing that we don't have another centre back that we can get, because what's going to happen is, let's say one Konate gets injured, we're literally stuck with Gomez, Matip, and from what we saw from the preseason game, it was not a good showing. You know what I mean? So it doesn't fill people with confidence having Lavia in front of those 2 guys. You know, God forbid that these players get injured and they have to play, but it's not going to look good. You get what I'm trying to say to you? So I understand why we're in for him, but I would have preferred to get someone like Luiz from Benfica. That would be my first choice, because he's young and he's got the experience and he's so mobile, and I feel like he's just Fab at 2.0. The guy is really, really great. If you really watch him, he's got everything that you need as a CDM. So, but Lavia is a great choice. I would just make sure that we have someone else that's older and senior that has more experience to, you know, help him out.
Definitely. I think Drunk Vigo here says Chelsea screwed us again. I'm not the one who's guilty of the title, sorry, but I think there's a bit of clickbait. But apparently Caicedo, Fabrizio just said Caicedo is kind of pushing for that Chelsea transfer now. And the only other thing that would have stopped Liverpool from signing Lavia, I mean, like Chelsea going for Lavia, is if they're completely deaded off that transfer for Caicedo. So maybe, just maybe, if Caicedo goes through, then we've got a clean run at him at Romeo Lavia. And we've got a comment here from Anfield lad, Andre Link's coming back. I've personally not seen him. I don't know who the hell he is. So I know that you're nodding your head. Have you watched him before? And what's your input on him?
I've seen some of the rumors about this Andre. He looks okay. He's similar age. I think he's 22, and he was in the team of the season of the not FIFA but the actual Campeonato Serie A in the Brazilian league team of the season last season. So he's doing well, and I think they're setting a 25 million fee on him, Fluminense. So I don't know. I feel like it is quite hit. It can be hit and miss, but a lot of the additions from the Brazilian league, when they've come to the Premier League, have done decently. Like if you look at other teams, and I think Fulham are in for him as well. And whether that's good or bad shows a lot. But I think, I mean, I'm not seen too much of him, but the fact that he's it's only been good things the little I have seen. So I mean, he'd be all right, but I feel like Lavia should be the one we push through first, get that over and done with. But yeah.
Dan, similar view. Have you seen much of Andre, or would you prefer Lavia or that guy?
Well, I mean, I've seen a little bit of the Brazilian Serie A, you know, in many ways. I've seen a little bit of Fluminese off and on when I get to watch them if they show up, because we get it, oddly enough, here in the States. We get it on a Paramount Plus, like we just get random leagues. He looks good. I mean, they're kind of similar in the sense that they're very much passing, receiving on the turn. Fun stat for you guys that if you didn't know this, Andre has a passing completion percentage of 99%, meaning that he does not misplace a pass. He's a good player. The problem is that he is 5'9". He's 1.76 meters for my metric folk out there. So he is a bit shorter, and I feel like if you're gonna get a defensive mid, you're like 5'11" is like the floor that you really want. That's what Caicedo is. That's what Lavia is as well. I don't think this is an alternative to Lavia. I think this is just someone they may be looking at as an additional midfielder they can bring in and kind of rotate in. Like I said before, I think I said on the stream that we had a few days ago, if you're going to buy Lavia, a 19-year-old, the next player, if you're not going to get an experienced 28, 29-year-old, get someone who's 22 and 23, who has 100 games under the belt that can come in, play a game for 2, 3, 4 games in a row, rotate them in and out. And that's what Andre is. If he's 20 million, Fluminese is not a big club in Brazil. They don't have a lot of, they need cash. The Brazilian league is always looking for cash. So there probably is a deal to be done there. And I wouldn't be surprised in 2 weeks if we see, Andre announced for 20 mil or whatever it is on a 5-year contract. So we're paying 5 million a year for him from Fluminese. I think he'd be a smart buy if you're looking just to bring someone in, get them some minutes as well. I'm in Harmony's camp though. Florentino Luis would be the ideal signing, but it's 113 million euros and no one's bought him yet. So I just don't think that's going to happen this summer. Sadly, as much as well. But what all of us should know, Dan should know by now that size doesn't matter. Listen, I agree with you, Olivia. Listen, but he doesn't win his headers. You can be short, but you have to win your aerial duels. He does not win aerial duels, and that's a big thing as well. And plus, listen, I'm 6'1", so I'm a big dude. I'm good. I'm good to go, man. I don't have to worry about size at all.
All right. I did forget to add on, by the way. So this is from a very reliable source, a top source even, that Jorge Mendes or George Mendes is in the process of bringing Andre to the Premier League. And obviously Liverpool been linked with him. And Mendes, he's had links with Wolves as well, but they're in quite bad financial trouble at the moment. So who knows who will end up at, sorry. How many of you seen much of him? And we've got a donation here, super sticker, whatever it's called. Florentino Luis, in my opinion, will be the best number 6 in the world in the next 2 years. Lavia cannot be the last defensive midfielder signing we need. What's your thoughts on that, Harmony?
I agree with him, the statement he just made, that the next 2 years he would be also seeing one of those ones as well. If obviously given time and, let's just say that we do sign him, he doesn't get destroyed with, with the pressure and everything like that, and he just ruins him. So that's something I can see. But going back to the player we were just talking about, I have watched him a couple of times, not matches, but highlights, and just seeing what kind of traits this guy has. And the only thing that there's a couple of pros. The pros are he can be one of those signings that you see a Brighton makes or one of those lower league team make, and then they just break out in the Premier League. They're just performing and they go for 60, 70 million. And then if we can get for cheap, and he does that for us, hey, listen, we saved us off money, and in the future we can sell him on for more as well. So there's profit in it. So that's one of the pros that I see with that, and I think that's something that Liverpool are kind of lacking in that kind of aspect of it, trying to find you can sell for a couple millions and just bring him in and they just explode, and you can sell them on if you really need to. Also, he's young as well, so even if he doesn't perform as well, you'll still be able to get that money back somehow, because someone will want him, because he's still young, he should be able to perform. The only cons about him is the fact that he's playing in the Brazilian league is completely different to the Premier League. The speed and everything, the physicality, everything's so different there. And that pass percentage, it might be high there, but in the Premier League, he's not going to get that much time to put his head up and ping the ball wherever he wants to, ping it. So that could be something that could, trouble him a little bit. But hey, listen, if he comes in after Lavia, then I don't see it as a problem. Slowly but surely embed him in, and let's just see where it goes from there.
That's it. And apologies if I didn't thank you for this. Thank you for the donation or super sticker as well. Matty and Gary's in the chat. Hello, Gary. Also, so we're talking about midfielders quite a bit here. On centre backs, we have reportedly bidded for Andreas Christensen, former Chelsea player, Barcelona player. Thoughts on him? Do you want to at Liverpool? And what's your take on us bidding for him?
Yeah, exactly the same. I never rated Christensen in the Premier League because I thought physically he wasn't up to scratch. I feel like he'll read the game well, but physically he's just not up to scratch. And if Barcelona want to get rid of him already, that just shows if he's not cutting it there. It's the same with Eric Garcia, like when he went as well. So I don't know, unless it's like 15, 20 mil. Nothing more than that, but I don't rate Christensen personally. I don't know about the other guys, but Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
about
it was
yeah.
from
I think
El
it's a 2
Nassr
season,
now.
hasn't he?
I'm not sure how reliable they are, but if any of
Yeah.
you guys got any more centre back suggestions from in as well, who do you want to see play centre back for us?
Oh, Colwell. I mean, it's Levi Colwell all day. I mean, like
Yeah.
I've been banging the Colwell drum. I know Harmony disagree. I know Harmony's saying this because we're probably not going to get him. This is my
Chelsea
conspiracy
won't
theory.
sell him to us, though.
They will if they're going to spend 100 million on Caicedo because they're going to have to sell somebody.
Yeah.
So I think part of this, I don't think that Chelsea. So this whole thing with like Chelsea trying to get Lavia, like as far as we know that like Liverpool are far ahead. So listen, I think right now Liverpool in a situation where they're going to get Lavia, but they're going to try and find a way to run Chelsea dry on like this Caicedo thing, and then when they pay Caicedo, they're like, all right, we'll give you 55 mil for Colwell. And Chelsea will probably say, no, I'm not going to accept that. But they might be in a situation where they have to accept that.
Yeah. I feel like Hincapie as well from Bayer Leverkusen.
Yeah.
He's been a brilliant player. He's been really good for the last 2 seasons. So he could be up there as well as an option. But they'll probably want about 40-50 million. Then again, they just sold Diaby to Villa. So they might accept a bit less. Peter, I agree with you.
Yeah, he's good. Yeah, he's good. I think Anassi will probably be the best one for me personally. Because just with his play style and that position that he plays, that's what we need. And you can get him on the cheap right now because his release clause is not that much, honestly. And I feel like he's a kind of player that he wants that move. He wants that big move. So he will be really enticed and he will probably be one of those players that will, pressure the club to make that move, to make that sell. So, yeah.
Yeah. My whole thing with Ignacio, though, is right now is that his release clause is reported as 45 million euros. And if we were really in for him, no, I know it's low. They would have just gone and paid it, because that's not much more than what we paid for McAllister. So I think Ignacio is a good player. I just think right now that what they're trying to do is get Colwell. Like that's their one target. Because I think it was just reported today as well that Ignacio is going to sign a new contract. That he's going to have a 65, but the release clause is only going to 65. So if you're going from 45 to 65, I mean it is an increase, but it's still not like the worst increase in the world.
Yeah,
because were we in for Ugarte and then PSG signed him, so now Inacio.
I don't think we're in for him. I don't think we're.
Yeah, I don't think so either. Yeah, I don't think they were into that. I mean, they were probably looking at him. I mean, this is the funny thing about Christensen is that the reason we're being linked with Christensen is because he's played in a back three at Chelsea. That's what he's brought up in, and you can play him on the left side. But I don't think we're going to buy Christensen unless it's like £10 million because he's. He's so injury prone. We don't need another injury prone center.
Exactly.
We had 2 of them.
Yeah, and I don't think he can play the high line as well because he ain't got the legs. That high line will kill him.
Yeah. If you remember back in the COVID season, when we played Chelsea, we did that. Henderson did that long pass at the top, and Christensen tackled Mane and slipped off. So no. So I saw someone here just mention Coop Miners. No, don't buy Coop Miners. No.
He's too old. I swear he's old.
No. He's just not that good. He's just not good. Like he's a bargain, but you're essentially buying like a poor man's version of Lucas Leiva. Like I'm not saying Coop Miners is a fraud or anything, but he's not. No. Like if we're buying Coop Miners, I would be worried. I'm gonna fly to Liverpool, or I'm gonna go to the Boston Red Sox game and start protesting FSG because I'm like, you should not be buying Coop Miners. No, if we're trying to win trophies in this league, no, do not buy Coop Miners.
Well, Khalid, you know what? We appreciate the donation. Dan doesn't appreciate your comment.
No, I appreciate the comment. I'm just saying, no. Listen, no, please don't.
But one name that's been thrown about as well, I think it's by GFFN or L'Equipe. I might have got mixed up. Marquinhos is reportedly listed by PSG for sale. Would you guys take him at Liverpool? And similar to Coop Miners, he can play centre back, DM, Harmony straight away with the null. What's your thoughts?
100%. He's a leader and he's Brazilian, so he's got that tech. So you ain't gotta worry about that. I'll definitely take him because he's a great defender. Even though the last couple of seasons he has been picking up a little injuries here and there, I still would prefer him over Gomez and Matip. So I would definitely take him. And
Arnav or Dan, what's your takes on it?
I mean, I would also do it, but my biggest worry would be wages, the wages and the fee, and the fact that what Harmony said, he has 451 games total, so he has a lot of miles on the clock. Listen, I can't stand by this Gomez and Matip slander, but if we're gonna sign an older, expensive center back, we might as well just give contracts to both Matip and Gomez and combine them into one player. just make him because that'd be rich for Marquinhos. No, he's a really good player. I'm not dissing Harmony's take. Listen, Marquinhos is an excellent center back. I don't disagree with Harmony on that. Yeah. I just think that if you're going to spend the money and specifically the wages, it doesn't make sense from a value proposition. Again, you would just rather just go get Ignacio, Hijack, or try to get Colwell. And I think someone mentioned Pierre Schurz, that it was someone we were linked earlier with. It didn't make sense. Are we saying look with Pierre Schurz? There haven't been any fresh updates. That haven't been for Pierre Schurz or for Mickey Van de Ven, which I find very fascinating because I would have thought they would have moved by now. The fact they haven't is kind of telling that there might be something where we don't get Colwell this summer, and then you see like a Schurz or a Mickey Van de Ven come through.
Yeah.
Not to be the bearer of bad news, Ollie's just thrown in a comment here. He thinks Marquinhos will change just like how Thiago Silva did to Chelsea. It's a decent shout, to be fair. It is obviously solid, but I think I read an article from The Athletic last night suggesting Liverpool will only sign a centre-back if it's the right player and if it's for the right amount. I mean, how many times we've heard that then it'll just be, we'll wait till next summer. Too many. He's the right player. We'll wait for next summer. So it could cost us in the end. But Arnold, did you have your thoughts on Marquinhos?
Yeah, I feel like he's a brilliant player, like what the guys have said, Harmony and Dan. But I feel like he's not really a Klopp player that Klopp would sign. I feel like signing from PSG, like a big marquee player at 29 years old. I don't know. He just doesn't seem like something Klopp would be really interested in. And obviously, he's dealt with he's been in a dressing room of big egos as well, and he's probably formed part of that as well. And a lot of the times when he's called for calm and in a high pressure situation, even being a leader, I don't think it's worked for PSG in the Champions League. Obviously, they've missed out on the league title, not this season, but last season. And I feel like he'd be a brilliant player, but I don't think Klopp will go for him. And I prefer signing a young, hungrier centre-back.
Yeah. And we got a comment here that Liverpool Echo said a couple of weeks ago, Van der Ven isn't a target anymore. I'm not sure how reliable the Echo are nowadays, but we haven't heard his name in time. I thought he was already at Tottenham, to be honest, but obviously not.
Same.
Another one is the Lavia deal done. No,
it's not
really.
Done
yet.
Nearly.
We hope it will get done.
Where are you not seeing all this news from? Everyone keeps saying nearly, and I'm just keep going through Twitter and I can't see nothing. It's just so
nearly done for like a couple of weeks.
So I imagine
Gravenberch.
I haven't heard anything from him from Munich. I don't. Has he been watching Munich's preseason games? I haven't been paying attention if he's played or not as well. I will say though that the Lavia deal, I'm pretty sure it's being hung up because Southampton want more money up front, and the reason it's being hung up is because Liverpool are waiting for the Fabinho Henderson money to kick in, so they can throw more on top and probably try to go do a center back as well. So that's probably why it hasn't happened yet. Is that they're still the last thing that I read on the timeline from a reputable source was that they're just discussing the structure of the payment, which literally means how much money they're going to get up front for Lavia.
Yeah, but
so,
to be fair to you, sorry, go on then. Sorry, I didn't want to cut you off.
Oh, sorry, I was going to say. So I'm pretty sure that's what's being hung up on. I haven't seen anything with Gravenberch yet. If he was going to move, he probably would have moved by now. German clubs really don't like to let players go in August, July. The one time it happened was Sancho, and that was when United paid like a stupid amount of money for him at the time as well. So I don't think Gravenberch is leaving this summer.
Yeah.
We'll see in the winter because, Liverpool have been buying players in January transfer windows. So, there might be a situation where we go back in for him.
Yeah, that's 100% true. And I feel like what I wanted to add was, I don't know why Southampton are asking for so much money up front because who are you going to go get? What player want to come and play in the Championship? Honestly, you know what I mean? So it just makes no sense how they're just moving. I think they're just being stingy because if you're being honest, they're gonna do if Man City wants to buy him back. So
I'm pretty sure they.
So it just makes no sense for them with their movements. But hey, we'll see what happens.
Yeah. I don't know why Southampton think they've got so much power as well. Over Liverpool, not in a disrespectful way. 50 million they want is just ridiculous.
Yeah.
But, we got another comment.
I think what we did to him in the past, I'm not gonna lie to you, from all the players that we took from him.
We got a comment, guys. What if our centre back signing is from the academy? That Kwanzaa guy. I was on the watch along for his match against Firth. I think was it Firth or one of the other teams. Yeah. He actually looked kind of decent. Actually, it wasn't Firth. It was the first team we played. Can't remember what they're called.
Carlos
Your guys' takes on him?
Yeah,
How do you think our preseason or the youngsters from our preseason have been? Are you impressed with any, or are you kind of disappointed with a couple? Start with Arnold.
Yeah, it's been decent. Like I talk about like the team as a whole. I feel like the results obviously aren't anything to go by, but some of them have been a bit shaky. But the player I've been most excited about is Nunes. I think like Darwin's gonna have a brilliant season this year, and some of the young lads now. I feel like it's been a decent little knocking about for them, but I feel like the results have been nothing to go by because they haven't been that good. We've conceded far too many goals, but yeah, I mean it's one of them.
Harmony, was it you who said you're not a fan of Matip and Gomez? I don't blame you, honestly. I used to defend Gomez so much. I used to even slew on the comments or Boljak.
What happened to you, Anthony? You got corrupted. You've been playing.
What
Gomez
happened
is
was Gomez gave goals away every single match he played this season. It's
Literally.
rubbish.
No, he had a bad season. I don't disagree.
Especially at fullback.
Yeah.
I feel like when he was at fullback, he was worse.
Now, you know what? Gomez, what kind of ruined Gomez is the injuries.
Yeah.
Because if you saw him the 1990s, he was on smoke. Him and Virgil, like no one wanted to mess with that partnership. Was literally so good. And as soon as he got that injury, he just never got back to that form. So that is the problem that we have with Gomez. He's so injury prone. Because I believe if he wasn't so injury prone, this guy would be probably one of the best centre backs in the world. Because he has the abilities.
100%.
He generally has the abilities, but it's just the injuries just keep ruining his career, and that's the sad thing about it. And so I just feel sad. And with the youngsters, I have been impressed with the centre back. What's his name?
Kwanzaa, yeah.
Yeah, he's been good. Doak has been good. He's been lively. You know, I would want to see more from him, a little bit more. But from what I've seen so far, you know, he's a good little player. I think he still needs a little bit more experience. Probably go on loan or something to get that experience. Him and Kwanzaa as well. So those are the two guys I'm impressed by.
I would definitely agree. I think Kwanzaa's been the standout in center back. He's been really, really good. His passing, his heading, like everything you want from him has been like really, really good. I mean, obviously against Greuther Fürth, it was one of the situations where no one really played well in that second half. It was just a mad game. It was just fun to watch at times. But I think he's definitely underrated, and I could definitely see an argument for keeping him in the team and playing him in a Europa League game. And like if we're playing Europa League group stage, you can put some of these players in, and they'll probably win because I'm not trying this to Europa League, but you can put like a second, third team in, and you can win because. Well, listen, Harmony, if you got Nunez, you got Gakpo, you got Jota, you got someone that's going to score goals, that's probably better than what a lot of these Europa teams have. Doak, obviously, I think he's the most electric player we've had since Michael Owen broke through. He just doesn't have the finished product right now. And I think it's kind of like that it's like that Saint Maximin Adama Traore thing where he has his technical ability is outrageous. He just needs to do the next step. And again, I think you can. If he plays Europa League games, more games he's played, he's going to get better at it. But he looks really exciting, really, really exciting as well. McDowell, I think, has been very underrated in the midfield. I'm not saying we should start him against Chelsea as a 6, but if you need to if you need a youth player around, again, if you need to, like we're talking about bringing numbers, I'm not trying to do the FSG, press show here. We're like the defense. I'm not their lawyer. But if you need to keep a player around, if you need a youth player that has been sent out, I think McDowell would be a good player to keep around if they can't get a loan from him and they need to like bring someone in to rotate like for 45 minutes, 60 minutes, or 30 minutes in a Europa League game.
Definitely. And we got a comment here from Junk Vigor. Damn, this show deserves more likes. I agree as well, my friend. I agree. Everyone get liking in the comments. And Vanessa Song here says the Saints wanted that much for Lavia because they have about 1.3 billion debt, which I didn't even realise. And I was going to add something to what you guys were saying, but I've had a bit of a mind blank and I've completely forgot. So, Mohamed Salah, I saw another comment saying he's gone to the AFCON. Is Ben Doak good enough to step into his boots for that period of time? Arnold?
I don't think so yet. I feel like we were talking about Doak last season. I remember he was on the bench for a couple of the Champions League games, and he did get on, I think, as well. And he looked lively even in the youth league games as well, where he was getting past people for fun. Like at 17, it was amazing to see. But no, I feel like stepping into the first team straight away now. I mean, Badger's done it 18, but I feel like giving him a few minutes here and there would be decent when we're like 2-0 up maybe, or 3-0 up in a few games, or in Europa or in like the early stage of the FA Cup. Something like that would be good. But yeah, I feel like, as Harmony and Dan have said, like send him out on loan would probably be a better option. Maybe to like Rangers or something like that. Get him some experience maybe in Europe as well if he could. But yeah, I feel like it'd be too early, especially to expect anything similar to Salah. But
yeah, definitely. And we got a comment here from Avik. Soboslai will replace Salah during AFCON, and he can actually play there, which is quite interesting. Anthony,
Yeah.
I'm not sure how true this is, mate, but what I was going to say, I remembered now. Tyler Morton, yeah, he's just completely gone off the radar. Has he gone on loan, or is he still at Liverpool?
I think there's
he's still at Liverpool.
coming in and being on the bench here.
Yeah, he's still at Liverpool because the talk originally in the summer was that he was going to go to Southampton on loan and then Lavia would come the other way, but that deal does not look like it's going to go through. That's probably because Southampton are probably looking to buy a couple players, which, going back to another comment, is why they want so much money up front, is because they can get that money. They can buy a bunch of players because the championship transfer window, I think, also closes September 1st, and Southampton are going to have to build a whole new team because so many other players are on loan or have been sold. So they need to really rebuild their whole team. Yeah, Szoboszlai, when Salah's gone, it's going to be Szoboszlai. I think someone said, would Mbappe play on the right? Peter says he's injured. Okay, so he's nursing an injury. I didn't see him when they did the the training videos. He wasn't during the rehab, so I'd have to go back and look to see if he what his injury is like. I know Bradley didn't go on the tour because they're probably going to load him out, and that's probably where they're going to go on the tour. Yeah, so so I'm glad someone brought that up. But just to finish on Doak real quick, I think Doak would be perfectly fine for Salah if we have Nunez and Diaz. If he's the one player, if he's the one youth player that's playing, I think that's fine because you can carry one youth player. If you have two, if you're playing, say, Ben Doak and Harvey Elliott, I think we're in trouble. If we're playing Ben Doak and Bajcetic, I think we'd be in trouble. If you're just going to play Ben Doak for, let's say, an away game against Fulham, I think that's perfectly fine. But Dominic Szoboszlai is probably the one that's going to start for Salah. They'll rotate between Szoboszlai and Doak, I imagine, unless they try to throw Diaz on the wing as well, which could be an option they throw in.
Definitely. And comments don't kill me. I'm not Darwin Nunez's biggest fan. I think he should be gone, to be honest with you.
Oh my God! What? Oh, you're off of it. What is this? Anthony, you got to look at the numbers. Have you seen the stats?
The 9 Premier League goals are the numbers, but
okay, he got 15 in all comps. Like I understand he got 9, but he got 15 in all comps.
And it took him a year as well to get used to Benfica as well.
Yeah, come on, man.
It's exactly great. It's exactly.
All right, man. Just attacking me. All right.
Wait, Anthony. Who are you bringing in for selling Nunez? Who are we bringing in to play up top?
Who are we bringing in?
I'll buy Kane.
I'll take him.
Yes.
For me, though, I think it'll be Salah, Gakpo, and Jota as our best front three. And obviously, I don't mind Diaz.
What about Diaz?
Huh?
Diaz.
Jota could
No. You know what? I agree with you. You know why? On the reason why I will have Diaz on the bench here because he holds the ball for too long. He holds the ball for way too long, and it pisses me off. If you watch the preseason games, this guy he holds the ball for way too long. So I'm just
having fun with it.
Yeah, move it on, bro. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you play goal when you're literally holding the player. Everyone's literally looking at you like, bro, we're here, and you just can't see it. Yeah. And he's really as well. I think he's too predictable. He's always like looking to cut in and shoot. He's not like Mane. Mane was so versatile. He'll cut in, he'll run in behind, he will see the ball, take the player on. With Diaz is kind of like the same thing, to run towards the player, cut in, either shoot or pass it and try, it's too predictable. So I think that's something that he probably needs to work on as well.
Yeah, I mean, Diaz plays a lot like a traditional left mid. But you've seen him preseason how he's starting to kind of drift inside forward a bit more and try to play like how Mane did as well. I agree with Harmony. I think sometimes he does hold the ball too long. He's too much dribbling. He's even more decisive. And I think that's just something they're working on with him. But he's also really, really good at getting us up the pitch, which is something you need. Mm-hmm. I listen, Anthony, I actually kind of agree with you. I do think Gakpo, Jota, and Salah may be our best front three, like if we're going away at Chelsea. But if we're going to play at home against like a team like Bournemouth or Brentford, you probably do want to put Diaz and Nunez in there as well. I saw someone in there mention Ndidi. No, 2 years ago maybe. No, Ndidi's. Yeah. I think he's done. I think he's cooked. I don't think there's. I think he's the send of verge now. He's just You know, I think there was a time when indeed he could have gone somewhere and hit the ceiling, but I think he's been run to the ground by Brendan Rodgers and Leicester in general.
I think, you know what you said with the whole front three, then I think I would do the other way around. Because I think if you're playing the Chelsea, you still at least be behind. If you're playing one of those lower league teams, then they're going to be literally like setting shop. So you're not gonna get the chance to be running that type of, you know what I mean? So that is why I will play Salah, Jota, and Gakpo against those lower league teams, because they don't need the pace. Their movement can literally just break the line. Nunes needs the space to be running to behind. You know what I mean? He doesn't have that intricate movement like those guys do. So that's the reason why I'll probably just swap it around if I was looking at it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's perfectly legitimate. I was just throwing it out there as just like a quick thought process about what Klopp want, because against Chelsea, probably wants a lot of counter pressing. No, I think that's perfectly fine. Like if they start that way, I think Nunes probably scores like a brace or a hat trick if we do against Chelsea, because Chelsea's defense is still, they need to put it together essentially. Like they got so many. If you watch Chelsea's preseason, if you watch any Premier League clubs preseason so far, even ours, like so many teams are trying to fix some of the issues. I think like City's conceded like 3 against a random Japanese team, and Chelsea have looked a mess all preseason, but they're still trying to figure it out. Am I high IQ? Thank you. Yes.
Right, we've been streaming 41 minutes. There's 179 people in here. I didn't even clock yet. Make sure you get liking and subscribing with notifications on. We're going to stream every day, so we're going to leave it with 2 last topics. I don't want to stream for too long and keep these guys waiting, but I did see one. It said that if an offer came in for Mohamed Salah for 100 million next season, are we going to accept it? Now, Arnav, we'll go to you first. If he's there.
I think
Harmony.
You know what? That's not a bad face to freeze on, you know?
Yeah, Arno's got that Riz. He's got that Riz going. Like he's got that Smolder. He's got that Oppenheimer look at him.
Yeah. For next season, I'll take him only because I think I'm not saying that he'll probably slow down, but I think we need to start looking at the next project in that particular position, because apart from Doak, we don't have anyone else that really plays that position. Szoboszlai, but I would prefer him to be playing in the 10 or the 8, you know, instead of dragging him out wide, even though he can play there. So that's probably why I would probably take that deal, especially 100 mil for someone that's going to be like 32, 31. That will be a deal I'll definitely take. It's kind of like the Fabinho deal. We got 40 mil for him. That's roughly what we paid for him when we bought him. You know what I mean? So we basically got that money back, and so I'll definitely take him with that sort of money to kind of get the replacement in there.
Yeah, I'll get you. Dan, same view. I personally, I wouldn't do it. You know, I think he guarantees you like 20 plus goals every season. That's the thing, isn't it? So I think it's a bit of a tough one. What's your take on it?
I mean, I agree with Harmony. I think there is definitely a argument that you can sell Salah, but you need to refresh that right side, and we really don't have anybody that plays on the right wing except for Salah, and he guarantees so many goals and so many assists a year. Like if you look at his stats every year, they're absolutely ridiculous from the right wing. Like no one really compares to him. The closest is probably Mahrez, and he just barely crosses Salah's threshold. Like his numbers are insane. I remember in an earlier stream I said no other team has a right winger that's their main goal threat, assist or goal scorer. Someone mentioned Saka. Bukayo Saka's best season still doesn't touch his Salah's worst.
No.
And that's his. And I love Bukayo Saka. Like I think Bukayo Saka is like absolutely amazing. I think long term they might look to put Szoboszlai there, and they might buy another midfielder, and they might change the structure to look more like a 4-4-2 than a 4-3-3. And I think the plan is, and I'm going to be completely honest here, and Anthony, you're going to hate this, the plan is to make Nunez the standard goal scorer. I think the idea, I know you hate that idea, but like
we need to talk about Nunez situation. We need to have that conversation.
No.
Sorry, Dan, continue.
I know you're good. So I would say I think the people who are going to replace his goals and assists is going to be Nunez, and like what you're going to do is you're going to take Salah's assists from the right wing and goals and spread them out into Nunez, Jota, Gakpo, and to everybody else, and possibly even the midfielders, because a lot of the midfielders we've bought and looked at, if you look at Carvalho, Elliott, Szoboszlai, and McAllister, they're all midfielders that can play 8-10 forward. Now McAllister can also play deep, but you're talking about players that are big on chance creation, and even though McAllister doesn't score a lot of goals, Szoboszlai does. Like, he can score 10 goals. Curtis Jones next year could score easily 10 goals a season. Like, if we're doing our end of the year stream and we're talking about how the season went, I think there's a universe, and it's not that far off, where Curtis Jones has scored 10 goals and Szoboszlai scored 10 goals off of the midfield as well. Also, someone mentioned that I'm high, but not high in IQ. Yes, man, I'm high on life. Alhamdulillah. I'm high on life, man.
And Arno, before you cut off, I did ask, would you sell Salah for 100 million, or what's your price tag? What do you reckon next summer? What would you sell him for?
My bad for the drop. Internet just died. But yeah, no, I think 100 million for Salah. I mean, how old is he going to be now? He's going to be like 31, 32 next season.
Yeah.
30, yeah. Yeah, 100 million. I feel like at that age, you can't really reject it. Like 100 million, we'll find someone else. We can start the real build project again. But even then, we've still got decent 5 that are there anyway attacking. So 100 million, you can't really reject. But I still think Salah's in the top 3 best players in the Premier League, if not the best. So, without him, we'd be lost. And I feel like if we had a year to think, then it'd be all right. I wouldn't put it too far as an issue.
Yeah, and we're gonna end the stream there. But just before we do, everyone get liking, get subscribing. Like I said, notifications on. We're gonna be streaming every single day, and we're gonna be doing watch longs for our whole pre-season and throughout the season as well. One last thing. What's everyone's predictions then for the Chelsea match? Start off with you, Dan. What do you think? Do you think we'll win easily, comfortably, or do you think it'll be a tough match?
I think it's going to be a really weird match. I think it's going to be very inconsistent. You know, if you look at Liverpool's opening games every single year, they're always very weird affairs. We usually always score goals, so I think it's going to be something closer to like a 3-1 would probably be my prediction, because right now Chelsea don't really have anybody that's going to score goals. But we're also rebuilding our defense. So there is a world where we go to Chelsea with Nunez, Diaz, Salah. Salah gets a goal, Nunez gets a brace. We concede a daft goal. I know Lavia passes the ball in our own net, and we're all raging about Lavia. But we win 3-1. I think 3-1 will probably be the outcome.
Yeah, and you know what? Maybe I'm looking too far into the future. Our transfer window's not even done yet. But Harmony, what's your predictions for that Chelsea match?
Yeah, I do agree with that. I think it will be a messy match, because I think both teams are going into the season kind of unknown with their squad and and how they want to play, because we're still experimenting, as you can see through the preseason games and everything. So, but I can see us winning, because I think we'll still be more organized and much more in our development plan. We're much more ahead with Chelsea. So I can see that game ending as a 2-1 for Liverpool. Yeah.
And Arnold, what's your take on the fixture?
I feel like it'll be quite cagey, because it's going to be a new look Chelsea for sure, and I feel like we should be able to get the win. But I mean, a draw. I could see it being a draw, but I feel like, hopefully we'd win. The optimistic in me says we'll win, but I mean, a draw would be all right as well. It wouldn't be a bad result first day. So yeah, their striker looks good as well. That Jackson. Yeah. Looks really good.
But he's their only striker. He's their only striker right now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
he's a good player.
I wouldn't worry about it, because Chelsea's the graveyard for strikers. If you honestly that stadium over there is literally just graveyard of strikers just laying there dying. Because every striker that goes there just flops. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, true.
It's the curse. But we got a comment. Drunk Vigor, you guys are becoming legends of this club. Thank you. Bigger legend than Jordan Henderson, in my opinion. But we're gonna leave it. We're gonna leave it. We'll leave you all with an exclusive from Beagle Boy. He says, "I can tell you now that Chelsea will not hijack the Romeo Lavia deal." So thank you to him, and we're gonna end it here. Everyone, thank you for watching. 146 of you in the end. Like I said, get subscribing, like the stream, obviously, push out our videos, and hit that notification bell, and so you never miss an upload. So yeah, thank you all for watching, and we'll catch you all in the next one.